Starlink's next generation standard receiver is now available for order with mobile plans. We've got the details. Hi, I'm Chris with the Mobile Internet Resource Center, here to give you an update on SpaceX's next generation Starlink Standard receiver, which we reported on last month when it was first announced. Well, now it's available to order. If you go to the SpaceX website as of this morning, when you're ordering a mobile plan, you have your choice of Starlink Standard, Starlink Standard Actuated, which is what they're calling the older version because it has the motors and actuators and is pole mounted, and then Starlink Flat High Performance, which is the $2,500 much higher end professional model of Starlink. So you've now got three choices when you're ordering the mobile plan on SpaceX. So what is different about the new Starlink Standard, and should you consider ordering it? Well, it's still early days, and very few people were given the early access invites over the past month to try it out, so we haven't seen any head-to-head performance comparisons yet. But looking at the specifications, the difference between the Starlink Standard Actuated, the older generation, and the new Starlink Standard is there's some positives and some negatives, and we're just going to recap them from our video last month. One of the most significant negatives is that the new Starlink Standard, even though it is flat and no longer has the pole on the back, it is, surprisingly, actually significantly larger than the old Starlink Standard. You can see it's bigger in both dimensions, wider and taller. So it's going to be more difficult to store in an RV if you're tight on space. But it might be easier for some people to mount because there's no longer the issues of the pole and the needing to aim. So you've got some potential trade-offs on the physical form factor. One other potential negative is the power consumption. It's quite surprisingly, the new version uses more power than the old version based on the specs that SpaceX has published. So for people who are off-grid, running off of solar power or on boats and RVs, that power consumption has already been an issue with the existing Starlink Standard, and having this one use more power is very disappointing. There are some improvements on the specifications. One of them is the old Starlink Standard had a 100-degree field of view of the sky, and that's partly why it used motors to auto-aim to kind of find the optimal area of the sky to point at. The new Starlink Standard does not have motors. It does not need to aim. It's not able to aim. They'll guide you through when you first set it up how to rotate it on a table if you're setting it up and give it kind of an optimal angle with its built-in kickstand. But even with that, it has a wider field of view of the sky. It's got a 110-degree field of view of the sky as opposed to 100, which is still less than the 140-degree view of the sky of the flat high performance. Other differences between them, the new Starlink Standard comes with the Starlink's Generation 3 indoor router, which is Wi-Fi 6 enabled and has got more capability, so it's a better indoor router. And they have improved the cabling, so you no longer have the proprietary Starlink cable. It's now a more standard Ethernet cable that goes from inside to outside, which is hopefully a lot less prone to failure. The cables on the old Starlink Standard, the Standard Actuated, were notoriously fragile and easy to destroy. So there's some significant changes. We're still going to be waiting for people to do some head-to-head performance testing. There probably won't be too significant of a difference with the current generation of SpaceX satellites, but maybe the new Starlink Standard will be more future-proof as the constellation continues to evolve overhead. So if you are interested and you want the new generation, you now have a choice between Starlink Standard Actuated and Starlink Standard when you're ordering mobile plans. Currently, they're not available on the residential plans on the Starlink website, but we expect eventually this will be the option, if not the default, for all the Starlink plans online.
These videos are brought to you by our premium members, our mobile internet aficionados. They make it possible for us to track this news and create these videos. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up, leave a comment, subscribe to our channel, or better yet, consider becoming a member yourself.